Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the event. It's been 3 months since our last WEX Health and Benefits Connect event held this past October. And our focus of these events is to show how WEX is solving the problems employers are facing today, while giving you a glimpse of where we're taking benefits next. For partners, brokers, and their employers, it is about navigating increasing complexity in benefits. And WEX focuses on helping you simplify, modernize, and scale benefits, delivering real outcomes today and a clear path to what's next. In an increasingly fragmented benefits landscape, WEX stands out by meeting you exactly where you already work by providing innovative and modern solutions. We've built our reputation on deep, seamless software integrations by helping ensure that benefit administration is a frictionless experience. And we go beyond the software. Our recent successes are rooted in superior implementation and dedicated service designed to repair trust where others have failed, and we build lasting equity with you. Our collaborative approach displaces the competition by solving the specific pain points of modern, lean HR departments. And at WEX, we know that technology is only as strong as the relationships behind it. Many of us have completed another successful open enrollment season, so congratulations. Each year, roughly 160 million Americans are impacted by employer-sponsored open enrollment, as this coverage serves as the primary source of health insurance for nearly 60% of people under 65. With millions making crucial decisions about plans and costs during this annual period, and this is alongside separate enrollment for the ACA marketplace. During Open Enrollment 2026, WEX Benefits platform processed an average over 1.5 million events on a daily basis. Examples of these events include enrollment or an election loading on a card. Our performance during your highest stakes enrollment periods is the ultimate proof our platform scale and our team's expertise come to play. The annual open enrollment period may have concluded, but for HR professionals, the work of maximizing employee benefits by pivoting to 2026 planning has already begun. Please continue to provide your feedback to us as you prepare for the next open enrollment, as these conversations help steer the product roadmap and investments. Today's Health and Benefits Connect will focus on 3 areas. First, 2025 saw the first expansion of access to health savings accounts since their creation over 20 years ago. The momentum created by this expansion might possibly lead to further reforms that would benefit consumers, employers, and administrators. And we will dive into what's happening and what might transpire. Second, the customer reality that's driving our Q1 product focus. Our solutions updates are grounded in real partner, employer, broker, and participant pains and challenges. And finally, solving the moments that matter and building what comes next. As our product and technologies leaders will explain, we are focusing on Q1 launches that drive true impact to your business. Next up to talk about legislative trends is Chris Burt.
Thank you, Robert. And Robert mentioned that in 2025, we had the first meaningful expansion of access to health savings accounts since they were created in 2003. That's both exciting and it sets the stage for what comes next. So let's look at what might be possible in the first half to 3/4 of 2026. There's a lot going on in this country, and policy often follows politics. So let's talk about politics for a moment. And let's talk about what's on the mind of voters, American citizens, people like you and me. Number one issue for people is inflation. It's the cost of living, it's affordability. And that is by a wide margin over any other issue. At the same time, if you drill down into that inflation, look what shows up at the top with a bullet: healthcare. Why is this important? It's important because in the 2024 election, healthcare, which is usually a fairly important issue, was hardly talked about. And all of a sudden, it's front and center. So the leadership in the White House and in Congress understands this. And they realize now that they have to own this. And so in the president's own words, it's time for the Republicans to own health care. The president has demagogued and has been negotiating with the pharmaceutical manufacturers. The health insurance executives have been called to Capitol Hill, and more recently, the president himself has released a healthcare agenda. And so this Republican plan has its foundation in three core principles. The first is cost, the cost of insurance, and the costs for out-of-pocket for Americans to pay for their health care. The second is consumer empowerment, giving consumers choice and control over their healthcare decisions and how to pay for healthcare. And the third is price transparency, and that is very closely related to consumer empowerment because you can't have one without the other. Health savings accounts cut across all three of these, and so we believe that the stage is set for the potential to further expand access to health savings accounts in 2026. It's not a surprise that HSAs are on the agenda, given all of this. What you see here is specific call-outs to health savings accounts. That really hasn't happened in the past to nearly the degree that it has now. And so both the leadership in Congress and the White House are behind HSAs. So let's move to individual coverage HRAs. This is another benefit offering that we believe might be poised for expansion. They're now being called choice arrangements on Capitol Hill. Bit of a better acronym in my opinion. What would this look like? What would meaningful reform in Washington and what would legislation look like? First of all, it would codify the benefit. And the second is it would lead to improvements that would make it friendlier to both employers and employees. All of this is happening at the time when there is growing market interest on the part of employers about this kind of arrangement. And we think of it not so much as a replacement for traditional group health insurance offerings across the employer universe, but rather a way for employers to expand coverage, whether they be small businesses who are thinking about getting out of the market or need to get back in, or whether it's mid and larger employers who want to offer more of their employees, whether they be part-time, seasonal, and the like, a benefit that they don't today. So both health savings accounts and choice, ICHRAs, could be poised to expand. And that will expand the addressable market for us and for administrators, but also make a real difference for employers. And yet, with all this said, it is an election year. Now, I'm not going to try to handicap what happens, but I would point out that typically in an election year, the party that holds the White House will lose seats in the House of Representatives, and the Republicans have a very slim margin in the House today. And so what does that mean? That means that there are really two opposing forces that are colliding. The first is a narrow window, because between now and Labor Day is likely when things will happen. But at the same time, there is an urgency on the part of the party in power to take advantage of their current situation and to get something done. And so we're very optimistic. We are going to be working very, very hard on your behalf to expand these benefits to more and more Americans. We'll be working hard both directly and through the industry to capitalize on the momentum. We stand at a unique moment in time. But that key word is momentum. And I'm very excited about the momentum that is going on in government, in the market generally, but I'm even more excited about the momentum at WEX. And so it is with great pleasure that I turn it over to Lisa and Christy to tell you about what we're doing to reimagine your experience in WEX.
Chris spoke about the animating principles that the government is focused on today: lowering costs, consumer empowerment, and price transparency. High costs create a barrier to entry for many employees. Increased transparency allows users to see exactly where their money goes and where savings exist. This clarity grants them the empowerment via choice and control to select the plans and spending strategies that best fit their budget and their lifestyle.
Integrating cost savings with user control requires more than just an analytical approach. It requires an ear to the ground. We realize that the best way to understand where benefits need to go is from listening to the people who are living with the reality of benefits today. Before we talk about products and launches, we want to start with what we're hearing directly from our partners, brokers, and employers in the market. Not just from what the market is saying via surveys or strategy decks, but from hundreds of real conversations that our sales and account teams are having every single day. The best way to understand where benefits is going is by listening to those who are living with the reality of benefits today.
The biggest insights we have gathered is that benefit leaders aren't asking for more features. They're asking for relief. Relief from complexity, relief from fragmentation, and relief from systems that are making it harder to support their people.
Across employers, partners, and benefit plan offerings, we're hearing a consistent theme. You're being asked to do more with less margin for error. Costs are rising. According to Mercer's 2025 National Survey of Employer-Sponsored Health Plans, the average cost of employer-sponsored health insurance reached over $17,000 per employee, a 6% increase, well above the rate of inflation and wage growth. An even higher total benefit cost increase of 6.7% is expected in 2026, which will push the average cost above $18,500 per employee. On top of costs rising, employee expectations are higher and teams are stretched thin.
Benefits leaders are managing multiple vendors, disconnected systems, and constantly changing requirements, all while being held accountable for outcomes they don't fully control. And when something breaks down, like a delayed enrollment or reimbursement, a denied claim, or a missed payment, it doesn't land as a system issue. It lands on the HR and benefits teams. It's the HR teams that are answering the emails and trying to explain why something that should be simple suddenly isn't. That pressure is real, and it impacts the level of confidence leaders feel standing behind their benefit strategy.
When we step back and look across these conversations, it becomes clear that employers are asking for a different experience. They are telling us they want their employees to understand their benefits. They want issues resolved faster without endless follow-up. They want systems that work together instead of creating more manual work. And most importantly, they want benefits to feel reliable, not unpredictable.
Imagine if submitting a claim came with confidence, knowing it was complete and on track from the start. Imagine if a dedicated payment came with immediate clarity, so you knew exactly what happened and what to do next. Imagine if new capabilities were rolled out with momentum because integrations weren't slowing progress down. And imagine if all of this felt connected, like one experience you could trust, not a patchwork of tools.
Employees don't experience benefits as modules or systems. They experience moments. Moments where something works or it doesn't. Moments where trust is built or lost. And employers are telling us clearly, the companies that win next won't be the ones with the longest feature lists. They'll be the ones who make benefits easier to use, easier to trust, and easier to scale without adding complexity behind the scenes.
Everything you're about to see starts here, with what partners, brokers, employers, and employees are living every single day. As we look ahead into 2026, WEX is focused on removing friction in the moments that matter most. Next, you'll see how these real customer challenges directly shaped what we're delivering in the first quarter of this year, and how we're building towards something more connected and intuitive. This is how listening turns into action.
And to tell us more about how we turn this into action, we welcome to the stage Jennifer and Prashant.
Well, before we get into specific launches, I want to level set on how to think about what you're about to see. Everything we're delivering in Q1 is grounded in a simple idea. When benefits feel complicated, people hesitate to use them. And when people hesitate, everyone loses: employees, employers, partners, and plans. So rather than shipping isolated features, we're going to be focused on the moments where confusion, friction, or delay have the biggest impact. And we asked, What would it take to make those moments feel clear, predictable, and easier to navigate? So the 3 Q1 launches we're going to walk through today are our answers to that question. Prashant, why don't you tell them about our Q1?
Absolutely. So we're starting with a developer center because integration is one of the biggest hidden constraints in benefits. When integrations are slow, everything gets delayed. Onboarding, claims, payments, reporting, and most importantly, innovation. According to 2025-26 Sapient Insight Group's 28th Annual HR System Survey report, nearly 80% of the benefit leaders say that their applications fall short of meeting business needs, and integration challenges are cited as the #1 gap. Partners want to move faster, employers want new capabilities sooner, and benefit leaders don't want progress gated by manual work or long implementation cycles. But too often, integrations still depend on scattered documentation, long testing cycles, and heavy reliance on internal teams just to get started. That friction affects more than just developers. It affects how quickly value reaches to the customers. In Q1, we are launching a new WEX Developer Center, and it represents a meaningful shift in how partners and technology teams engage with WEX. Instead of integrations being gated by manual processes or fragmented resources, the Developer Center brings everything team needs in a single serving experience built with developers in mind. That includes centralized searchable documentation, modern REST APIs, and live sandbox environment so teams can easily explore, test, and validate integrations early without waiting on external support. We are also thrilled to introduce AI-assisted code generation to help teams move faster from concept to integrations or implementations, helping reduce the setup time and common integration errors. So Jennifer, can you talk some of the benefits?
Absolutely. So here's what this can unlock in practice. Partners can integrate faster, testing happens earlier and more reliably, and new capabilities move from idea to market in less time. So for employers and plans, that means improvements can show up sooner and roll out more predictably. And for our participants, it means better experiences can reach them faster, with fewer inconsistencies and less friction when they use their benefits. So now let's talk about claims, because this is one of those moments where benefits either work for people or it fails them. And we hear the same story over and over. Someone submits a claim they believe is valid, it gets denied, and then they're asked to upload documentation, and then they wait. And in the meantime, that expense is coming out of their pocket, and that certainly creates real stress, especially when it's unexpected. So when claims feel unpredictable, people stop trusting the system, and then they hesitate to use their benefits, and then employers and partners have to absorb that frustration. So what we've learned is that speed alone is not the goal, predictability is. And in fact, with our intelligent claims tooling, claims that used to take like 2 business days can now process in under 2 minutes with more than 97% precision for valid claims. Well, that difference matters because when people know what to expect, they're more confident in using their benefits in the first place.
In Q1, we are delivering targeted improvements designed to make claims experience even more simpler, clearer, and more reliable. That starts with expanding support into additional claim types, including HRS, so more people can submit claims without uncertainty about eligibility. We are also introducing multi-document uploads, which means people can provide what's needed upfront instead of going through repeated follow-ups. And we are extending claims reimbursement into the mobile experience, so claims can be submitted and tracked in the same place people already manage their benefits. Behind the scenes, we are increasing AI validation to drive higher auto adjudication rates, helping valid claims move through faster without unnecessary friction. So Jennifer, maybe some outcomes and benefits.
Absolutely. So together, these changes are designed to reduce confusion at submission and speed up the reimbursement. Claims get submitted with more confidence because the requirements are clearer up front. So valid claims move faster with fewer denials and fewer requests for additional information. So now reimbursements are going to feel more predictable. And that predictability matters when people are managing real expenses. And for employers and partners, these changes drive fewer escalations and support calls, and a claim experience now that reinforces trust instead of eroding it.
We'll end our Q1 launch presentation with most defining moment in the benefits experience. The moment a benefit payment happens or it doesn't. A card gets declined, a receipt is required, or reimbursement doesn't come through when expected. And that moment, people are not thinking about benefit rules or plan details. They're asking a simple question: what just happened? These moments are happening against the backdrop of rising healthcare costs. When people are already feeling that pressure, uncertainty around payments hits harder. Confusion can turn into frustration, support calls go up, and trust in benefits program takes a hit. According to AFLAC's latest workforce report, nearly 90% of the employers and 3/4 of employees see a role of AI in benefit administration, and they expect the benefit system to be responsive and intelligent. Jennifer?
Absolutely. So, hey, in Q1, we're delivering improvements designed to bring clarity and guidance directly into that moment. Now, that starts with near real-time purchase notifications so people immediately know when and where their benefit card was used. If documentation is required, our intelligence system is going to prompt for in the moment, either through an SMS or an in-app message, with a direct path to submit what's needed instead of chasing it later. And when a transaction is declined, we're providing a clear, real-time explanation so people understand why it happened and what to do next. We're also simplifying our substantiation flows, making it easier to complete required steps without unnecessary back and forth. And here's what change can do for people using their benefits. Instead of wondering why something didn't work, you get an immediate answer. And instead of calling support, you're going to know the next step. And instead of now waiting days for a resolution, issues get handled faster, often in the same moment. So for our employer and partners, that means fewer support tickets and benefits experience that feels modern, responsive, and trustworthy. So when you take a step back and you look across what we've shared with you today, there's a clear through line. These Q1 launches are all about removing complexity, from how integrations get built, how claims move, to what happens at the exact moment a payment occurs. We're focused on making that experience clearer, more predictable, and easier to trust.
And just as importantly, this work is happening now. These aren't concepts or future state ideas, they are capabilities we are actively delivering, grounded in real customer needs and backed by the scale and reliability of the WEX platform. With that, we'll hand it back to Robert to share a look at what's coming next.
Each of these Q1 launches solves a real specific problem, and together they show how we're removing friction at the moments that matter most. But this is just the beginning. Throughout 2026, you'll see this momentum continue as we bring more innovations to market, building on the same foundations of clarity, connection, and confidence you've seen today. At Spark 2026, we'll bring the full picture to life. You'll see our full 2026 roadmap in detail, accompanied with end-to-end demos, and get hands-on with the products and capabilities that could shape what's next for the benefits industry. We've invested further in our technology track via AI-driven experiences, the modern data platform, and our API-first strategy, and the latest technology. If what you saw today resonated, Spark is where it all comes to life. And while in-person attendance at Spark 2026 is primarily targeted at our partner community, we welcome all of you to join us for the opening keynote, which will be streamed online. So please take a moment and the opportunity to review the schedule and register today. The path ahead of us is incredibly exciting, and we want you right there alongside of us. Don't let the conversation end here. Whether it's in a one-on-one meeting with your sales or account manager this month, or at Spark in April, we want to hear your voice as we build the future of this industry. And to close, I have 3 messages for you. 1, we are delivering on our promises today. 2, we understand the hurdles you're clearing for tomorrow. And 3rd, we have a vision for the future that can change the way you do business. I want to thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you at Spark 2026.